Welcome to Career in Focus, a part of the amazing variety of podcasts brought to you by EastLake Plus, a positive podcast. My name is Vanessa Brinkman, and many of you know me as a teacher at EastLake High School. I teach AP Lit. Shout out to all my litters. But I'm also the official chairwoman of the EastLake Alumni and Friends Association. And today we have the amazing opportunity to be meeting with Cris Liang, the amazing co-owner of Common Theory 2 down here in Otay Ranch. Hello and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. That was a beautiful intro. So I am glad to be here, glad to be down in EastLake and being able to kind of represent Common Theory, our second location, and being able to bring good food, good drinks, good vibes, and just overall good times to just Chula Vista.
Well, we're super excited, and I will forget the fact that you are Bonita Baron over here. But I will absolutely.
I didn't wear my T-shirt. It's all
well,
worn out.
it's okay. I'm kind of repping the EastLake a little bit. We have some big moments, but it's so great to meet you. And I'm so excited to be talking and featuring, you and your business and you investing, returning home back to EastLake. We'll adopt you a little bit.
Nice. Thank you. Thanks.
So as we get started, tell us about yourself. You met Joon here in Eastern Chula Vista, but you have quite the story of getting from, your upbringing, coming back. Come on. So tell us about it. So what's a little bit about yourself?
Will do. Yeah. My background's a little interesting. So I am full Chinese. My parents were actually migrated from China to Mexico. So they ended up down here in Baja California. So I was born in Rosarito. So, and then shortly after being born in Rosarito, my parents moved over to Tijuana. And I actually grew up in a neighborhood right across the border. It's called Colonia Libertad. So I went to school down there, grew up, learned the culture, obviously raised in it. I speak fluent Spanish. My Spanish is probably better than my Chinese. And so it was such an amazing experience just growing up down there and then being able to use my Spanish to then come across to the States and actually start picking up the English. And so I probably made it over this way by like fourth or fifth grade. And then actually I have a bunch of family up in LA. And so a lot of uncles and cousins were up there. So I did my middle school up there. And during this whole time, my parents owned and operated a Chinese restaurant in Tijuana.
Okay.
And so, in the span of middle school, they saved enough money, bought a house right here in Chula Vista. So then they bought a house in Rancho Del Rey, and then they moved me and my brothers from LA back down to San Diego. And then I started doing high school and college and all of that down here. So
that sets you up in the perfect place for you to meet your partner.
Yes. And then so throughout my years of Bonita, I had some buddies that he knew, and then we would just meet at the local basketball court. I think it was Terranova. We'd play some games there and things like that. So that's how I ended up meeting Joon Lee. So he came here to this high school. And I also had some other friends in college that went to EastLake as well.
So you were kind of like an EastLake tight-knit.
Kind of, we were all good buddies. And so, friendly, competition, good friends. And so, throughout college, I, pretty much hung out with both of these guys, Joon Lee, and then also this other good buddy of mine, Tommy Tong. And so, it was just somewhat of a little destiny thing. We both ended up at UCSD as dorm mates, but I didn't know he was applying there, and neither of us knew if we were getting in, and we never really talked about. We weren't that close during high school.
You were acquaintances. You knew each other. Hung out every once in a while.
We never really talked about where you going to college or where you doing.
In 20 years, we're going to make a restaurant together and be super successful and celebrating our 10th anniversary. None of that popped up in conversations.
No, definitely not. And then so we just became dorm mates at UCSD. For the first year, and then shortly after, just roommates throughout the next couple of years as we were going through college, and and so that's how we kind of go.
Wow, that's quite the map. That is quite the map. So, which leads us, the idea we've already kind of alluded to it. You've come home, in all of your adventures out there. What would you feel sets Eastern Chula Vista apart? So what makes you feel like this is the money, this is the place? Because your first Common Theory location is actually off Convoy, which
Correct.
is a completely different neighborhood than
totally.
Eastern Chula Vista. So what do you feel sets Eastern Chula Vista apart from any other neighborhood in San Diego?
Yeah, I think in just viewing all of San Diego, I think Chula Vista in its own has just grown so much.
Yes.
And then part of that was we were essentially looking to expand, but we weren't really searching that hard. And then when the folks from Millenia ended up reaching out to us, then we really came down and did like a big dive and took a look at everything. And then obviously did our study. You know, you kind of have to do your due diligence. And we said, you know what, we've got kind of like the northern part like pretty well. We don't want to expand further north, like North County area. And so him being from down here and then myself as well, we said, you know, we know the neighborhood. We're from it. We know the clientele. We come down here for all kinds of birthdays and hangouts, and we're always kind of searching for something better. And we get tired of some of the national chain stuff. And so we said, you know, hey, they're looking for something local, something homey, and Common Theory has that to offer. And so
you're like,
said,
yes, pick me.
Yeah. And then so you know, beautiful Millenia neighborhood. It's new, a lot of growth still to come. And so we said, hey, let's use this opportunity to kind of put our foot in the ground and be in the midst of this conversation of growth and all the amazing things happening in Chula Vista.
So then my next question, again, of you are just like a cultural blend of so much. So what goes into like establishing the concepts for Common Theory? So because I was doing some research and it was saying that your menus are different from both locations. So what kind of goes in? Because how do you bring in all your background into putting together your menu?
Yeah, it's all of us getting together and reviewing our menu as a group. So a lot of times nowadays it actually starts with our chef. He obviously knows our brand, knows what our clientele is, and he'll start creating food and pairings with our craft beer and things like that. And then obviously then Joon and myself and any other managers involved, we taste the dishes.
Ooh, that must be the best part. You're like, I'd like a
control,
tasting, please.
Quality control is tough, you know, but someone has to do it.
Oh, I get it.
So we just put our differences aside and kind of look at the menu from like a broad perspective, like as a guest yourself. And then you kind of just say, you know, hey, this could be changed, that could be changed. We got to hit these notes from a Mexican or Asian or just American overall standpoint and make sure that any random guest is going to enjoy it.
All right,
you know?
here's the big one.
Yes.
This was not discussed before our interview, all right?
I wasn't prepared.
All right. So think about your menu and Common Theory too. What would you feel is like the most quintessential dish that represents this area and the blend that makes it different from Convoy?
That's a good question. So actually, I did want to mention the two menus match about 60 to 70%.
All right.
So now we're talking about just the 30%.
I'm talking about that a little bit.
You know what? I've been eating this way too much.
Okay.
Every time that I am down here and I'm having my little meal, I've been going with our fish tacos because we don't have those. We don't have those up there at the Conway location. So when I'm down here, I am always eating those.
Yeah,
you know?
I have to agree.
So, yeah.
I have to agree. All right, we're closing up, but thinking about, we got Taste of EastLake coming up, and Common Theory is a proud supporter of Taste of EastLake. So
first time ever.
Woo! So everyone, we got to be very excited. If you haven't had a chance to taste them, they're going to see my at Taste of EastLake. So one final thing, with all your journey, what type of advice would you give to someone who's trying to break into the restaurant industry? Especially during right now, it's kind of a challenging time as we've like post-COVID and, you know, things have changed. So what advice do you think you would give to someone who's trying to break into the industry?
Yeah, if you're passionate about the hospitality industry, what I would tell my younger self is just go for it. You know, hesitation will lead to regret. And actually, if you are on the younger side, the younger, the better. You know, there's always more time to like bounce back. So you definitely want to take a shot at it. And then if you do decide to do it, then obviously focus on what's authentic, focus on what's real, connect with your guests, because that's what hospitality is. If you don't do that, then why are you in this business, right? You want people to come into your restaurant or your bar or your cafe shop, whatever it might be, and you want them to feel comfortable. You want them to enjoy your offerings, and you want them to genuinely enjoy the space and walk out of there happy.
Not to mention that they're going to come back.
Yeah. So I think, when you create that concept and you do your study, just make sure that it hits those notes, so that those guests do come back.
Well, thank you so much for being here. That was amazing. That was so helpful. And hopefully everyone out there got a really good job. And we're going to all see you at Com 32.
Right.
And we're going to all see everyone at Taste of Eastlake. Thank you again so much. Again,
Pleasure.
I won't hold it against you that you're from Bonita.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And to all of those at home, thank you so much for joining us at Career in Focus. My name is Vanessa Brinkman, and I'm very happy to be a part of all of the great podcasts here with Eastlake Plus, a positive podcast. Thank you very much, and we'll see you later.